Askreddit. What black market did kids at your school run? A kid in my school used to sell stupid amounts of porn tapes for $10. We found out later that his dad had paid for some porn channels, and I guess he never noticed his son had them open in his room. He would buy empty tapes and just hit record until the tapes were full. I know I bought at least 10 of them. This was in the 90s. That guy was making a shit ton of money. He would bring a backpack full of tapes almost every day and leave school with it empty. Easily he was making $200 a day when he emptied his bag. Edit. Thanks guys. Now every time someone mentions emptying a bag in any situation, I'll remember all your masturbation jokes. They will come in handy for sure. Man, it's hard to go back to minimum wage after that type of income. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes everyone. His family was loaded to begin with. I honestly think he just did it because he was very popular in school among every group and clique. The only thing more useful than money is influence. That's what he was buying. Exactly. You don't want to bully the guy with a backpack full of precious and rare treasure. I was in elementary school when pogs were big. Everyone had cool slammers and stuff, but I didn't have money for good ones. My dad made one out of 1/2 mild steel for me and used an engraving pen to make a simple pattern. Everyone was asking me where I got them from. I didn't want to lose my unfair edge, but I also knew I could make money. My dad had a big sheet of this 1/2 to steal. I told them I was the only one who could get them. I sold them for $15 a pop. My dad kept 10, I got 5. And that's when I learned what overhead was. Edit. First silver. Neato. Thanks. Your family sounds like fun. I went to a private high school with a strict dress code, ties, belt, etc. So I bought a bunch of ties and belts from a thrift store and ran a lucrative rental business out of my locker renter swag. If you forgot your gym uniform more than once, you would get fined $5 to rent a uniform from the teacher or serve a detention. I would buy an extra set in the beginning of the school year of each size, and then rent them out, wash them myself, undercutting the teacher's fine at a cost of $3. Very lucrative over my middle and high school years. Locker accessories such as carpets and magnets. Carpets? How big were your lockers? Only a few hundred square feet. The fireplace was really disappointing because it was only gas. I used to bang my head on the chandelier till I bought out my friend's locker above and built an extension. The location of forest porn. A buddy of mine found his mom's dildo when we were 11 years old and he charged people to come and see it. Made a small fortune during that week it lasted. Did his mom ever find out? You know, the other moms and dads got to hear about it too. Step right up. Step right up. See the 8th wonder of the world, folks, right here. Just 25 cents a ticket. A hidden treasure from the farthest orient. Crafted by 1,000 Chinese laborers using only the finest grade India rubber. Enchanted by secret Confucian magic to move of its own volition. It buzzes continuously with energy said to be drawn from the dome of heaven. Its undulating motions, at once repulsive and transfixing, are likened to the hypnotic sway of a king cobra. I present to you, even now still sticky with the fragrant dew of a foreign clime, the disembodied phallus of Beijing. This is my favorite one. I don't know if this counts, but me and my brother would take money to beat all the challenges in GoldenEye 0074 and 64, so people got all the cheats. The invincibility challenge was the toughest. I have family in NY and would go visit a couple times a year back in high school. Every once in a while we'd visit Chinatown in Nick and I'd end up buying $100's worth of fake watches, Rolex, Tag, Gucci, etc. Return to school and sell them for double than what I paid for them. A lot of people still do this. They fly off to China, buy cheap knockoffs and sell them for a huge markup wherever they're from. It's big business here in the Philippines. At my school I ate all sweets out of the vending machines and replaced them with healthy snacks. In the local town there was a sweet shop where you could buy a kilo of mixed sweets for £5. So every week I would go there and buy 1 pound of small paper bags and spend the Sunday night before school repackaging them all ready for the week ahead. Come Monday I would go into school and load my bag up every day selling the bags for 50p. G-rated version of repacking and selling drugs. Cuban sandwiches straight out a duffel bag before school. They were bomb. Cheap and way better than the lunch in the cafeteria. Best sandwiches ever. I grew up in Tampa and I miss being able to go to Ybor City for a real one. The few places in California I have found that sell them all put mayo on them. Makes me so mad. So now I just make my own using a slow cooker to do the pork. Edit. Since so many people are asking for the recipe I use. Here. The only guy in the school whose family had proper TV channels used to tape wrestling events and rent them out. That late 90s ECW was hard to get a hold of. My buddies and I would pool money to watch the PPV events at my house and always recorded them on VHS. Unfortunately my mother saw an especially bloody ECW match, so we could only order WWE events. Luckily I was always nice to the two Ike kids and they had all of the ECW shit. They would always loan me tapes to copy over the weekend, and on Monday we would be so excited to talk about them. This is the most 90s Midwestern thing I've ever read. Laughed my ass off. As a person from the Midwest who was in middle school in the 90s, that post didn't even seem that weird to me. I was just like, yeah, this sounds like something my friends and I might have done. My school used the metallic ends of pencils as a currency. Bronze was rarest, so it was the most expensive. Green was most common, so it was the least. We traded for erasers or pencil cases or a spot up in the 4-square line. Eventually got banned, but we still operated with people acting as banks to keep the currency hidden and to keep transactions hidden. It's actually pretty impressive to trade and maintain value of a fiat currency like that. Yeah, and the emergence of banks is super impressive. I wonder where the bank managers are these days. Apple laptops in middle school. Some had iTunes, some didn't, and the kids wanted it, so I apparently was the only one who knew how to transfer the installer with my USB. I put it on everyone's laptop for gifts, favors, etc. in return. Got caught by the sub that day. I told her it was my flash drive, I could do what I wanted with it. And that's how I got my second detention of my life. Edit. Gifts were typical middle schooler shit. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, fruit snacks, best food trades during lunch, gain in popularity and hang out with the cool people. Obviously they were taking advantage of me, but I didn't mind. How did you get the first? Gang violence. You don't wanna mess with the middle school mafia, bro. Silly bands. I remember a kid made like $50 one day. Wanting to get in on this craze, I remember saving up for a month and going to the dollar store and buying a couple dozen packs of these damn things. Only when I got home, I realized these packs were the ones that always contained exactly the same ones in every pack, and nobody thought they were cool or wanted any of them. About a month later they went completely out of style. It kept me up at night for a while. This was late middle school for me. They were so highly coveted in our school that, if you had rare ones, you'd rather shoot yourself in the foot than give them away. I remember the fantasy pack was rare and came with bands shaped like a genie and unicorn and that shit. I only knew like 2 kids that had that pack and everyone was gagging to trade with them. Of course that didn't happen. So effectively, in the inner workings of my middle school, a caste system was created from fucking rubber bands. All silly bands are equal, but some are more equal than others. In high school, this guy sold socks in the hallways. I'd ask why there was a market, but I'm not sure I want to hear the answer. I went to school with a lot of emo kids and apparently, socks ruin the look of Converse and Vans. The gym teachers hated it, so if you weren't wearing socks, you couldn't participate and you got an F for the day. What if you wore ankle socks? Just had to prove you were wearing them. These little game coupons that our teacher gave out for winning class quiz games. Right when people were starting to get scanners printers in their own homes, some kid made copies of his coupons and sold or traded them to other students. Edit. Since I have some people asking what the coupons could be traded for, it was usually a piece of candy or a pencil with a fun print or something similar. I think the kids ended up getting caught like 2 weeks into the scheme. Edit 2. A lot of people are comparing this to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I've heard of but never read before. I think kids are just clever and do this kind of thing on their own because a lot of people in the replies had similar things happen in their own schools as well. I don't know if this is where the kid got his idea or not, but this may have been before those. And that's how you first learned about inflation. In a similar vein, our high school had homework passes redeemable across all classes. You could use them as either one free pass for a homework assignment or 1 day delay on a large report. They even had a void message if copied. The teachers got them from the principal at the beginning of each quarter and they passed them out with wild abandon to anyone showing interest in class. The market was flooded. I'd buy them from kids for $2 each. Then I'd wait. At the end of the quarter, larger reports would be due. Rich kids would buy them back from me for $25 minus $50 each. I once made $370 in the last 5 days of the quarter. Whatever I earned, I'd typically only use a total of $15.20 to buy the next wave of homework passes. The rest was mine to keep. It all started with a single 0.75-cent investment, and that was the only bit of money I ever paid from my own pocket to keep it going.
Bye.